Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the Know Your Gear podcast, episode 309. 309? That's crazy. So I hope everybody had a great week. It's NAMM week, so I'm sure we'll talk about NAMM a little bit, just a little bit. But mostly we're going to talk about just guitars and gear as always. As always, if you see the blue names with the wrench, they're the moderators. They're here to help. And then, of course, you see green names, they're channel members, and I appreciate them and the patrons because they are the sponsors of all 309 episodes. So, again, thank you guys for that. Something to mention, I'll do it twice. I'll do it right now real fast, and then I'll do it at the end of the week. Just to let you know, if you live in the Phoenix area, Phoenix, Arizona, my buddy right here, Larry Mitchell, will be doing a clinic at Zimms Guitars next Friday. That's April 27th at 4 p.m. So it's a fantastic clinic. I can't highly recommend it enough. He's an amazing guy and amazing player. It's a good time. It's free. And I'll put a link to that info in the description when I index this. And of course, I'll highlight it once more. But that's next Friday at 4 p.m. In Arizona. So I hope you guys are lucky enough to go. Okay, so let's see. We have early questions. We have all kinds of stuff. Let me just peruse, if you guys don't mind. Let's take a little casual look at see what you guys are chatting about. See if there's anything I can jump on and see. Friday, happy Friday. That's all about Friday. Woohoo, Friday. A lot of people happy about Friday. So, all right. I think I'll just go right to the early questions. I don't see anything pressing that I have to hit that. Let's see. Oh, you know what? This is a fun one. Jack says, hey, Phil, where do you list your guitars when you thin the herd? First, the way we do it when we do let go of guitars, and usually the guitars that get sold are the channel guitars. It's very rare that I'm selling one of my personal ones. It's usually like something we got for the channel, either, it's either staying with us and its time is kind of past, or I bought it for the videos. The way we do it is I always tell the patrons, the top tier patrons first, and then it's kind of like a down process, like a pyramid. So I tell the top patrons first, I give them an option, then I go to the next tier, then I go to the last tier, which would also include the channel members here. And then if nobody, then I go ahead and list it on Reverb. It's just a first right of refusal kind of thing, like, hey, you guys want a heads up on this? So they get a little heads up on it first. So you guys know, I'd say 9 out of 10 times, maybe 8 out of 10 times, but say 8 out of 10 times, they don't buy it. It actually goes and on like Reverb. Usually it goes on Reverb. If I don't already have a friend that wants it. And then I know we're talking about doing it on the Sweetwater's used gear page, because Sweetwater had reached out and worked out some kind of deal with us to where we could do it cheaper, kind of deal, right? So we've been thinking about doing that, but we haven't actually sold a lot of gear in a while. It's been building up in I'd say a closet, but it's a room. It's a pile of stuff in a room. It kind of gunks up fast. And I don't know when that's going to be, so So let's hold on. Okay, hold on. Paul says, "Oh, you're not at NAMM." I am not at NAMM. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure I'm able to tell you why I just chose something else over NAMM. So basically, let me start with the easy part. I chose something else over NAMM. I know we had talked about me going to NAMM. I was going to go. It's not that far from me. It's like a 6-hour drive. I was planning to go, and it's a day travel. 6 hours is basically a day, right? You lose pretty much the bulk of your day, and then of course 6 hours back. So, and you usually stay in a hotel. And so what ended up happening was I had 2 opportunities come up for other travel events that I think are way more in line with my channel. The NAMM show, I wasn't really going for the channel. I was just going to kind of go poke around, see what's there, and then maybe talk to a couple companies that had reached out to talk to me outside of NAMM. I think I mentioned this. Most of the companies that reached out to me, like almost all of them, but maybe 1, maybe 2 tops, all wanted to meet up like outside of NAMM at coffee shops and stuff. And so I was like, well, I can, why do we have to go to the Anaheim area to have coffee? We can have coffee anywhere. So, but more importantly, the NAMM, it's not. I look, to some people the NAMM show is kind of dead and it's not there anymore. And some people, they love the NAMM, and and your perception's reality, right? Whatever you think, I'm sure there's people at NAMM show having a blast. Me, I can't justify a reason to be at NAMM for this channel. For me personally, sure, there's friends, there's stuff to do. I can walk around and look at a piece of gear, but making content, it's the worst content you can make. I was making less and less of it each year, and it had nothing to do with the size of NAMM. 2020 was the last NAMM I went to, and that was a big NAMM. I even said it was huge and it was great, but I didn't make any content really. And now a lot of companies have figured out that NAMM doesn't work for them. Perfect example. Fender's not there. Gibson's not there. Paul Reed Smith's not there. Ibanez is there, but and a decent sized booth is what I saw. But I mean, there's a lot of companies not there. And I can tell you that obviously some of those companies have publicly stated they're just not going in the NAMM. It's not profitable for them. It doesn't make sense. But some of those companies have chose the other thing I'm going to. So that's what I'm not allowed to talk about yet. It's basically what it is for YouTube channels, gear channels like me, virtual events are the future. Because that is something I can do. That's something I can go and film content that's as good as the content or like the content that I do from my own studio. So I don't have to worry about, like, excuse me, sir, I'm trying to get a picture of that guitar right there, and then, listening to the background, and not getting a sense of it. And let's be honest, there's not a whole lot of new gear there at the show. Obviously I saw the new Pia. If you guys haven't seen that, the new Swirl Pia, it's gorgeous. It's $11,000. I don't know how to put that into, it's not happening. If it was $5,000, I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So, but 11, not even 10, it's 11. So like I said, I chose the other options, and there's 2 that are coming, and I'll let you know. And they are confirmed because I've already been, my flights are all booked and everything's booked, but I'm just not sure what I'm supposed to say yet about them. But it'll be good. And it's strictly, I'm going to make content. It's not there to go like, hey, I'm with these other YouTubers, let's all hang out. And just, it's actual like I'm going to be working. My goal is to make, 10, 15 videos. That's my goal. I'll probably end up making 5, but you got to shoot for the star, so to speak. So there's the answer to the NAMM show. Like I said, and I hope everybody who went had a good time. I hope it's a good show. It looks a little small. I have some friends, obviously, they have some booths there. A couple of my friends that got booths at last minute basically got them at a discount, which was nice because I'm sure the NAMM show really wanted to kind of fill some space. And it's got to figure out its place in the world. The NAMM reached out. They offered me free passes and everything. So, I don't want to make it sound like the NAMM wasn't pretty cool about that. They were pretty cool. But the NAMM, the NAMM organization still, in my opinion, hasn't figured out what it is that these gear channels like me are doing. It would be a lot nicer if they could make an environment that would be more conducive to making content. I just don't believe you care that, that I'm having a good time somewhere. I think you guys want entertainment and information, and I think that's what I'm there for. So, but I hope everybody had a good time. Let's see. I'm looking to see if you guys had any follow-ups to that. I'm not old, I'm vintage. You're pretty intuitive, man. Breaking into booths in the middle of the night and taking apart guitars kind of working. Yeah, that's the kind of content that I have coming. That kind of stuff. Access. It's about access. It doesn't do me any good, like I said, to just show you, hey, that's behind me right there, and that's new. I want to be involved. I want to be able to make the content I make. And that's pretty much what I've resolved from going future, everything I do now. If I can't do the deep dive style videos, if I can't do the videos I want to do, I'm just not going to go do them anywhere besides here. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of you guys are $11,000. It's a cool guitar, right? A lot of you didn't know that was the price tag. That might be retail, so you know. So if that's retail, I'm sure it's like $8,999 somewhere on there. It'd be street price, I assume. But there you go. All right, let's get into some questions. We got a good amount of people jumped on. We'll be jumping around today. Today's just going to be chaos. Well, let's go with it. Wait, one more quick question. This one from Jacob says, when will we get a video of your nags? Let me look. Something cool now, which is why you probably noticed there was no videos this week, is I'm no longer in charge of my schedule. These are, I've been doing a lot of back-end work, as you guys have seen, with the changes to looks and all this stuff to make better content, but also make it more conducive to making better quality content, but also having better work-life balance. And the Nags guitar shows it is May 2nd. So it is slotted for May 2nd to be out on that date. So we slot out everything, and this is important because I don't talk to companies anymore. And because I don't talk to companies, you know, the companies need to know like when I'm available. So we had to create a schedule, and so now I have a schedule. So now it's nice is when you ask, I can go, oh yeah, that's when it's coming out, because I can see on the schedule when it's, this is when the work's due. That's why I had this week to make content for next week. The next 2 videos are very lengthy, long, hard videos. So I decided to do it the right way and not the fast way. And sometimes, like I said in the past, I would make the long videos and then I would put out a couple of short, quick ones. I'm just focusing on the longer formats. Edward says, hey, any comments or thoughts on Fender's new, I think it's Confi. That's how I always say the pickups names. Confi or Cobalt Chrome pickups. I've seen the release of them. I think it's exciting and cool. One of my thoughts, they're exciting and cool. You know, will I buy some and put them on the channel? I might do that. I mean, that's my goal, is obviously to have more pickups videos. I'm trying not to just do so many, like in just the pickup video, just doing pickups. I'm trying to actually put them in other videos, like, you know, like maybe like a, you know, here's a deep dive and then we fix it up like a Sharp My Axe kind of thing. But that's my thoughts. They look cool. I don't know anything about them. I haven't tried the versions. So everybody's on the same page. Basically, Fender announced that they're doing the Confi style pickups in the, I think it's like a single coil, right? And then did they have a P90 and a humbucker and something else, like different shapes and stuff? And I just don't know. Like I said, to me, I got to trust my ears over everything else. So I gotta try them and see what they say. This one was Karen Bassett. I was going to say Karen the bassist. Oh, that's kind of funny. I read Karen the bassist and it's Karen Bassett. Interesting. I don't know why is that. Karen says, Phil, I play a lot of songs in E flat. I also play in standard tuning. Do I need different setup for each tuning? This is on a bass. It's probably where I got the Karen the bassist. Karen, you are now officially Karen the bassist. Karen the bassist, you do not. And so everybody's on the same page for you guitar players and bass players. It wouldn't matter. A half step is not enough to throw the intonation out. Definitely not for live performance. No one would be noticing anything. If your intonation was out already, so if you're standard tuning your intonation slightly out, of course, anything you do is going to exaggerate that problem. Obviously, tuning everything flat, you know, half step down, full step down, that's going to probably get a little worse. But assuming your intonation is pretty dialed in on standard, dropping a full step down or half step is not going to affect anything. Definitely live performance, definitely playing with other musicians. No one's going to stop. No musician is going to stop and go, I think that 1E that you were playing seemed a little, right? Like that's not going to be something that's going to happen. Now in a recording environment, it's not necessary either. In fact, it's the old saying, right? It's good enough for rock and roll. It depends on how much distortion. Obviously, you're playing a bass, but I mean, how much distortion the band's playing, what type of music they're playing, and how intricate the chords are, and what they're doing with that. That all being said, it can get crazy in the studio. I've had to do setups for guys that go in the studio that are so dialed in that we can't even intonate the guitar to a standard tuning like this. Like I've told you this guys before, sometimes Nashville style players were they were the hardest ones for me to learn with when I was doing setups, because they would come in and go, okay, I want this one, 4 cents flat, and I want this one, right? They had like all their specific ways that they needed this intonated and varied by string, and they would just give me like on a little Post-it note, and I would do it. So, I mean, you can get technical in the studio, but no, for anything else, you're fine. And like I said, I'd even argue in most cases in the studio, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with tuning down half step, that would throw the intonation off. Especially on bass, even more so. But I wouldn't worry about guitar either, because guitar, the only thing I'd worry about is chords, and you're not gonna have that problem. But a bass would be, almost non-existent as a problem. Okay, Leonardo says, hey, Phil, and everybody. Hey, he says everybody. He wants to say hi. Do you need to replace the pots potentiometers in a made Mexico telly if I replace the neck pickup with a humbucker? So basically what he's saying is, hey, look, he's got some 250K potentiometers, the volume and tone control, changes the neck pickup to a humbucker. What's going to happen there? Probably not a lot. I've always told you guys the rule I like to follow, for those of you that may not know, you may be newer listening. On a guitar, if you have humbuckers, you're generally going to have 500K potentiometers or 1 megs. Most common is going to be 500K. If you don't know what that means, don't worry. Just have to know the number is 500. If you have a single coil, it's going to be 250. And that's what those potentiometers are. I've always said this. My rule that I follow is if it's a humbucker single, I would stick with the majority rule. So 2 single coils and 1 humbucker, I say go 250K, right? If it's 2 humbuckers and 1 single coil, I say go 500K. That's the 500K goes to humbuckers. And now in this one, where you're now 50-50, right? What do? I would still say 250K. And the reason is because that bridge is going to be more, I don't want to say problematic, and I definitely don't want to say any other than the way this, if the potentiometers will have more effect on that telly bridge pickup than they will on that humbucker. Not noticeable ear effect. And it's going to be minor, by the way. Like I've said a million times, I would imagine if I snuck in the middle of the night, took your guitar and changed any one of your guitars from 500K to 250 or voice, the next day you wouldn't pick it up and go, sounds a little darker, sounds a little brighter. Most people couldn't even notice the minor amount because whatever it does change, it's minor, but it matters. It matters to some degree. So in your case, no, you don't have to replace the potentiometers. I would just go ahead and stick the humbucker in there. If you would so like, though, you have a second option. See how I'm holding 3 fingers? Because I'm trying to think, like, the first option is do nothing. Second option, of course, is go to 500K, which I don't recommend. The third option, which I was saying second, is this. Let me look it up so I can show you. Whoops. Ooh. Weird that my computer was making that noise. Okay. This is a little secret. That what I'm showing you is not a secret, but what I'm about to tell you with this is a little secret, little spoiler alert. Let's go to sweetwater.com. Let's go to the website. Hopefully everybody can hear me fine. This is the Fender Dual 500K, 250K split shaft potentiometer. You can get an installed shaft as well too. This is $10, and you can have your cake and eat it too. You can run 1 pickup to the 500K, which would be your humbucker, and 1 pickup to the 250K. These are super easy. If it looks complicated, it's not. It's basically a very easy thing to do. They're $10, and I can share that with you because the next model Badlands has this potentiometer, and then when we had to buy a lot of them. So that's why I said that was going to be the fun little. I was going to throw a fun fact at you. Obviously, I'm sharing that with you. I'm not supposed to, but let's just say, obviously, I like that potentiometer a lot because it's in the next run of guitars. And for those of you that are pretty good at some, Sherlock Holmes stuff, you're probably going, I wonder what 2 pickups are going to be in the next model Badlands guitar then. The smart people can figure that out. And so, through a lot of diligent research, I found that I could not find anyone who makes those besides Fender. I do not believe Fender makes that potentiometer. I just cannot find anyone else that has it for sale besides Fender. So that's the one you get. You can probably, and I think a really fun, weird fact. I remember, hold on. Now I want to share it with you. Yeah, here's a weird thing. I'm going to blow your mind. You're going to spend the whole weekend in shock. Because I was in shock. So you guys know I was responsible for sourcing the parts and helping find, this is the correct part for what we were doing. This is the part that blew my mind. They are $9.99 at Sweetwater, which is free shipping. So, worthwhile. But if you have the Stu Mac deal where you get the free shipping, they were $8.84. They were cheaper at Stu Mac. I know. That's the shock, right? How in the hell is StewMac ever cheaper than Sweetwater? It's impressive. Of course, you would have to add the shipping to StewMac, but if you guys, like I said, if you have the shipping deal, free shipping deal, you can save $1 going to StewMac, and I'm sure that's the last place you would look to save $1. But when I was looking at them and doing the research for these, that's what I found. So there you go. So there you go. That's the answer to your question. The next question that came in says, "Hey Phil, this came in through the email at knowyourgearpodcast.com. You can click there and ask questions, and they're either going to be maybe featured here on the show or maybe featured as an entire video. So I mean, like I said, we can't unfortunately respond to those questions. We try sometimes if it's something we think we can, but most of the time instead of responding, it's just here. You get answered here, or you get answered in the videos. So what was the question? The question was they wanted to know what was the most disgruntled customer I ever had and how did I deal with it? And I'm sure that's more about my personality. They want to know how I reacted to somebody freaking out and what in the world did they do, right? So here's the deal. I always said this before. I'm always cautious to tell old customer stories because those customers were important to me. And most of them are my friends to this day. They watch this show. They hang out with me. I just had dinner with two of some of our dearest customers on Tuesday. And I should say ex-customers, but still, they're still our friends and they were our customers. But anyways, my whole point is that in this story, I guess I would say, when I think, the first thing that came to my head, I have to share, because this was an extremely disgruntled person, and technically, I'm going to say they're not a customer because they didn't buy anything. So here's the story. Most disgruntled customer and how do I deal with it? Maybe not what you were asking for, but it's what you're going to get. We had some, like all stores, we had policies, and one of the policies we had was anyone could touch the guitars. We didn't have a do not touch. We didn't have like don't touch signs. We experimented throughout the years, like every once in a while, like somebody would drop some guitars or steal guitars, or something would happen that would suck, and maybe I'd get in a mood and we'd put like a please ask before handling tag on some of the guitars. But I hated those, and so as soon as I was normal again in my mind, because it's when I say normal, I mean once I was past whatever financial hurdle we lost from whatever happened that some customer did, and that wasn't even all the time. I'm just saying, just in case anyone ever saw some of those tags, we did have them on and off throughout the years, but very rarely. But most of the time it was just handle the guitars as you want. And so the way we did it was when you walked in our store, the first thing you saw was me. I was always behind a workbench. You could see me working on your guitar. If you wanted to watch me work on your guitar, you were right there. I had a little plexi shield, like a sneeze guard. I'm not making this up. Just so people wouldn't reach over. Believe it or not, people reach over and they could hurt themselves thinking they're going to pick up a part or something or ask me a question, and they burn on their hand on my soldering iron or something like that. So I'd have a little plexi shield, but you could sit there and watch and talk to me because the plexi shield went up to like here and it was clear, so you see me. And the first thing you saw when you walked in the store was me, and I was working on guitars. So this kid, I say kid, I don't know. He could have been 15, he could have been 30, I don't know. He came in the store and he walked up to, I remember it was a PRS single cut, so pricey guitar, and he turned, because it was on the wall, he turned to us. There was 3 of us in the store, plus some customers, and said, "Can I try this guitar, play this guitar," or something to that effect. And Warren, who's the employee at the time, said, "Yeah." He goes, "When you're done with it, just bring it to the counter and I'll wipe it down and tune it up and put it back." Because that's what we did. We let you play the guitars, but then we always took them, wiped them down, tuned them up, and put them back, because it's hard to stay on top of that. In fact, we used to have a portable cart that we built that was like industrial, real strong, and we would give like the kids that would take lessons at our store, because there's a lot of, especially teenage kids, they wanted to make a little extra money, like especially if they came an hour early or hour late for the lessons, we'd pay them like $10 an hour. This is back when minimum wage was $7, and $10 an hour to just go and tune as many guitars and wipe them down as many guitars that they could find out to tune and dirty before or after their lessons. A little way from them to make a little scratch and a little bit, try to keep on top of the inventory. And so anyways, so Warren tells the kid, "Yeah, just when you're done, bring it to the counter, wipe down." He goes, "Well, I can put it back." And Warren's like, "Yeah, no problem at all, man. Just, it's not a big deal. Just that, you can play as many guitars as you want. Just when you're done, just bring them to the counter and I'll put them back on the wall." Okay. So the kid picks up the guitar and he plays the guitar for a little bit, and he gets up and he just puts it right back on the wall. So Warren, who's like, very, I don't want to say introverted, but he's not like a, outgoing guy. Warren walks over to get the guitar. And then I don't really know what's happened. I don't know. I mean, I saw it. I don't remember what specifically the kid said to Warren, but I remember like the kid's like, I didn't do anything to it or whatever. And Warren's like, no, it's totally good, man. You're totally good. And he goes like, if you want to try another guitar, you try another guitar. So the kid picks up another guitar. Warren just wipes it down real quick, tunes it, puts it back on the wall. The kid's playing a second guitar. Same thing. The kid puts it back on the wall. So Warren doesn't say anything. Warren just goes to get the guitar to wipe it down and tune it up. And then the kid says something to the effect of, again, something like he didn't do anything to the guitars. And then he proceeds to tell us off. Like he told us off. Like he was harsh. He was like, F you guys, screw this place. I don't understand what's going on here. And he said, here's what I remember the thing that was funny to me. The kid had holes in his jeans, holy jeans. And he goes, what are you, because I have holes in my jeans, you guys don't think I can touch guitars or whatever. And then my wife, who was behind the lesson counter, comes around the side of the counter. She goes, and she was wearing holy jeans. She goes, I wear holy jeans. Like, this is what people that come to music stores look like. I don't understand what's going on. I think he had a skateboard too. I can't remember. And so the kid is very disgruntled. And I just stopped what I'm doing. And I said to him, hey man, no issues, man. If you want to play guitars all day, just play guitars all day. I don't care what you do. And he basically tells me off, there's words like curse words and stuff, anger. And he like leaves, but he does the hard push out the door. Okay. So he's gone. We all kind of look at each other like, that was weird. There's a customer stores like, that was weird. Right. And then he comes back. It's like maybe 5 minutes, not even a couple minutes. He comes back in. He walks in the door. And I said, oh, you're back. I'm glad you came back, man. Hey, like I said, no issues. And he goes, I left my phone. And I said, oh, yeah, that happens all the time here. I said, because all the amps are black. The phones are black, and it's like people leave them on our amps all the time. It's probably on that row of amps right there. And Warren's like, I'll help you. And then the kid pulls a gun on us. And so then as soon as the kid pulls the gun, and I think he points it at me. I can't remember who he was pointing it at, or maybe he pulled it up like this. I think it was pointed down, right? And I remember going, oh man, really? Don't do that. That's just a bad idea, right? And he yells, he curses at us some more. And I said, look, man, I'm trying to just calm him down. I said, look, man, like, no worries, but you gotta, don't do that. Right. So he leaves. So as soon as he walks out, and this is kind of why the story may be interesting. Obviously that's a very disgruntled person. So what was crazy to this day is this. Here's something we learned that day that we didn't know. So when he leaves, he was walking towards the record store that was in the shopping center. And my wife goes, you think we should call the police and tell them the kid's walking around the shopping center with a gun? And I said, yeah, I think we should. So I called the police, and here's what I didn't know. Behind our store was a school. In fact, it was 3:00 in the afternoon. And so all the parents were there for pickup. Here's what I learned about apparently guns near schools. They locked down the entire school behind us. We didn't do anything. They just did it, right? They seriously came in and like quarantined the area, and they found him, and he had a gun. So long story short, that kid got in a lot of trouble. So I would say, I'm not saying that's the most interesting disgruntled story, but I'm going to say, I don't know of anyone else that was so disgruntled that they pulled a weapon on us. That was the only time somebody ever pulled a gun. And I just remember like it really, really was weird, and it was horrible. And I think also to this day, I think, I don't know that kid. I obviously I don't know him, but I always think like, I kind of always replay like how it all went down. And I really feel like we kept coming at him nicer, like kid glove more, like, letting him know like he's good to go. He's fine. But I don't know why he was so uptight and tense. But yeah, so that was probably the most disgruntled customer. So that's the answer to that question. What else do we got? Gil says, "Hey Phil, last week I made him dig out his power block. I have the power block. A lot of people have been talking about the power block since I pulled it out and got it." He says, "I still haven't used it, only when purchased. Will it push a 412? Oh man, we're not even like trying. It pushes a 412. I'm gonna test it with an Ampeg bass cabinet with a bass. It'll play a bass cabinet as well. So you guys know, I could tell you. Exact, not exact, but this 50 watt Friedman small box, and this crate power block, I can run them through the same cabinet, and they're equally as loud as each other without any doubt. Maybe the Friedman, when I get that last bit of loud, is a little clearer and not as solid statey pushed, but they're equally as loud. You can hang that power block will hang with any 50 watt tube amp that you can imagine. They even made a special cabinet for that crate power block that was a 100 watt Celestion speaker. So, yes. So yeah, the answer is you can totally do that. All right. It's funny. Somebody said that's a scary story. They're talking about the kid and the gun. One thing I can tell you was it happened so fast and it was so weird. Like I said, when he pulled his weapon, it's not like he was robbing us. Like I was like, if someone was robbing me, I think I would react a certain way, or there would be a certain way. Like he was trying to just show us that he has a gun. Like, give me respect. I have a weapon. And so in that, I wouldn't say, and I'm thinking back because I'm trying to think, like, I wouldn't say like, oh, we all were afraid for our lives. And also we weren't like, this is totally okay. It was neither of that. It was somewhere in between, like, this could get dangerous fast because he's obviously pulled a weapon, but it wasn't like, I didn't feel like he was going to shoot us. Like he was that mad, like crazy, kid about to shoot people. I got the feeling like he was gonna, and I really believe it or not, I might have triggered that. And I'm again not excusing him by any means. I mean, remember, he went to jail, so I don't think he was too happy. I think the cell phone thing was really embarrassing for him, and I'm not saying this is his excuse. But I'm saying I was overly nice when he came back because I was, because I feel bad for the kid, and maybe me overly nice, maybe he read that as sarcasm, or maybe it was just irritating him even more. I'm not really sure, but of course my main concern once was to get him out of the store. So that's why I was like, man, please, I said, I didn't say please. I remember I said something like, man, don't do that. That's a bad idea. I remember that's the first thing I said. Cause I remember the first thing I thought before anything got bad was he's in a lot of trouble. So, I don't know how to say the name. Avi Boss says, "Hey, did you ever carry those import guitars that were shaped like machine guns?" We didn't carry those. One thing that we did was our store was a lesson academy and store mixed in one. So you had a huge lesson academy. It was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students, and of course, by nature, they're going to be mostly young kids. So we just made a decision, as a business. We didn't carry any guitars that we could think that were offensive in any way. So if they had pentagrams, we didn't do it. And again, so you guys know, I'm not showing any kind of belief system here. I'm just saying we just were like, as a business, like, I always thought maybe we were being a little over the top about that. Like no guns, guitars that look like guns, nothing like that. But believe it or not, we were in business for, I think 9 years, the year I decided, I don't know what possessed me to do this, but in like 9 years in business, I decided to decorate for Halloween. I don't know why. We never did it before. One year was like, I think it was because we were working so much and maybe we couldn't decorate the house. And I was like, I'm going to decorate the house for our store for Halloween. So I decorated the store for Halloween, and it was a lot like how you would decorate like classrooms. You guys are old enough to remember when they used to decorate your classrooms. I don't know if they still do that. I think now they do Harvest Festival or something, right? So I had like those foam skulls, right? And then I had like witches posters, or little cardboard cutouts, and orange and black streamers. And I'll never forget this. I decorated the store. I was so proud of myself for doing this. And my wife's like, I don't think it's a good idea. I'm like, I don't know. It's Halloween. And the first day, it was fine all day. No one said anything. And then, like in the afternoon, the first groups of students start coming in, and one of the moms comes in, and she's like, "What's with this?" And I said, we decorated for Halloween. She's like, and she goes, "Oh no, that's not what happened." She walks in and she goes, "I usually drop and pick him off." That's what she said. "I usually drop and pick him off. I never come in. Does it always look like this in here?" And I was like, "No, I decorated for Halloween." Because I guess she thought the store always had Halloween stuff. And I was like, "No, it's just for Halloween. It's just Halloween." And then she was obviously very upset. I think we lost her as a student. I think like they didn't come. I think they had one lesson left or two left in the books, and then they never came back again. And they were coming for months. So I was like, "Oh, well, maybe. What do you know? What are you going to do?" You know, this is what you do when you're in business. You try things. And so like I said, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a weird subject to talk about. Let's get back to guitar stuff. Let's see, something else. Another question I got was the Kiesel output jack issues. So this came in emails to me, and then of course it was on the patron forum, and then today. So I figured, we'll talk about it. So if you guys don't know, if you're interested, so Kiesel came out with a new guitar. It's an Aries, but it's the version 2, right? It's an A2. It's a version. It's behind me right here. There's one right here. They sent this one for me to check out. It's still here. And one of the things, if you watch my live unboxing, I did a really honest, opened, like reaction video. So like, it's just me reacting to the guitar. And in there, I remember looking at it. And if you watch that reaction video, you'll see me like, oh, the output jack's on the back. That's a little different. And you see me mess with it, stand and sit down and do all this stuff and try to find a way for it to bump me and bug me. I've been playing the guitar since that video. I've had no issues, but I've seen where I guess according to these the comments and questions came in was some people were saying like, I guess if you sling it down low or if you play classical, the output jack the position of it in the back of the guitar, the cable can bump you. And so I guess yesterday, which I thought was really cool, Kiesel Guitars announced that they're going to put 2 output jacks on the guitar, one at the bottom and one behind it. And it's just a standard feature now. And so you guys know that has no effect on the guitar. It's like, it wouldn't, nothing. It wouldn't matter if you plug 2 things in it. It wouldn't matter if you plugged either one. It doesn't matter. But the point is really impressive. I have to say how impressed I am with, look, that's going to happen. You're going to design something and then there's going to be an issue. As a content creator of reviews, I mean, constantly coming across issues. And, I'm going back to the companies. And most of the time, there's a pushback with a company. Not 50% of the time is so safe to say. 50% of the time, it's the issue is blamed on you, the customer. Like, you're just not doing it right. You don't know how to hold it. Who cares about that one way? There's always this kind of pushback. And so I thought it was really cool when I heard there was an issue. I was like, oh no. And then when I saw that they had fixed it, like in 24 to 40 hours of basically of hearing it, I might have my numbers off. I mean, it was a week later, but I got the impression from when I saw it happen really quick. But it was really cool to see it get corrected really quick and in a really cool way, because I think that's an interesting way to fix that and kind of like, deal with it. Me personally, like I said, since I play the guitar, I've played it everywhere I can play it. You've seen the way I hold the guitar. I sit mostly, like most everybody now that makes content. Very rare do you see people standing. I can only think of like 2 or 3 channels on YouTube that do guitar videos that stand. And standing, I had no issues. Sitting, I had no issues. But I guess I don't sling it down low because I can't play if it's down low. And also, classical style is not a position I tend to play in very often if I'm, unless I'm demonstrating something. So I thought that was really cool. Cool little thing and an update. And my understanding is, I guess if you ordered one of those guitars, don't worry about anything. They're gonna put the 2 output jacks on it, and then that way you're good. And if for some reason you bought one and got one, but I don't know how you would get one so fast, but maybe you did. If you send it back, they'll pay for everything and they'll add their output jack. So I thought that was cool. A little update there. I think what's nice about that is, to me, I kind of picture that's the that is what we all hoped social media, like period, but especially in the guitar platforms, would do or does do, which is, customers have an issue, instead of waiting months and months and months or years to find out there's a problem, it's just instantaneous. And then the company works instantaneous with the customers, and everybody's got the same goal. They want to sell you a nice product and you want to buy a nice product. It seems like such an easy environment to work in, I have access to people so fast, and then react to it. I give them applause for that. That's really cool. And I mostly applaud that, not because I have any agenda to help Kiesel out, but also because if there's other companies listening, pay attention. That's a good move, so pay attention to that move. Martin says, I think it's Martin says, so you can plug in 2 amps? Yeah, you can output to 2 amps. The way it would work is it's not stereo. It's 2 mono outputs, so it would send 2 signals out. It's no different than like using an AB, like a passive AB box that would have no volume controls or no nothing, except for there wouldn't, and I mean a really passive one, like kind of like the Morley one, not so much the basic Morley one, not so much like the radio and stuff that has a little transformer in there. But yeah, it wouldn't matter at all. Sorry guys, I'm just looking to make sure everything's okay. It wouldn't matter at all. It works perfectly. So yeah, you absolutely could send out 2 signals if you want. Absolutely. So if you wanted to run, one to a clean amp and one to a dirty amp, or 2 different amps, it just, you couldn't obviously shut 1 amp off or anything. It's not like an AB switch back and forth, but you have 2 outputs. So yeah, and it wouldn't matter. Okay, so, Kiesel Guitars. Either Kiesel Guitars is saying something, or somebody's got Kiesel that says, yes, you can use both output jacks at the same time. The guitar will come standard with 2 output jacks, but you can call or email you can call or email in if you would prefer just to have the jack in the back. Oh, okay. So you can delete the extra bottom one, or you can have both. Oh, get both, guys. Like, that's a no-brainer. I mean, why not, right? I always love and. I love and, right? So you can have this and that, then always take the and. Why not? It's why have less options if it has no negative effects? Thank you for clarifying on top of that what I said too. But that's pretty cool. So what's the next thing? We have a lot of questions, a lot of subjects. I thought I was today. I'm like, I don't know if today's going to be a heavy NAMM question. Would anybody talk about that stuff? Scratchy Pots. What a great sign on. Oh, Scratchy Pots. That's great. I love it. Okay, it says, hey Phil, I would like some attenuator options. I have a Supro Blackmagic Reverb. That's a great amp. 25 watts and 8 ohms. Looking at the Iron Man 2 Mini, that's the way to go, in my opinion. I mean, it's hard to beat. I think it's rated what, 30, 40 watts. You can run it passive or run power. So if you run power, it's just it has a light to tell you when the boost is engaged, or you can just run it passive and sit around the amp, which I love. I love the idea again. And I like the idea I can have, the light option if I want, if I need to, on stage, and if I'm at home, who cares? Then I'll run it passive. What are options? I'm not going to give you anything I like better than that. That's my favorite for that. If you just want a good attenuator at a more reasonable price. I can't say cheap because it's not cheap, but it's reasonable. If I wasn't going to get an Iron Man 2, I would definitely look at the 2 Notes Captor X. I love that. I have one of those. That's great if you want to take that amp and then now plug it into your interface or a PA system, and you have more options than the Iron Man. It doesn't sound, to me, the Iron Man sounds better than the Captor X when it comes to attenuation, how well it attenuates. And it's variable, where the Captor X is kind of like a selective thing. You're like, this is good. Oh, it's a little too loud. Oh, it's too quiet. Okay, that'll kind of work. Like, you always feel like you're not getting exactly where you want. But it's got other features like those IRs and stuff. And then of course, there's my favorite, the aux. I'm a big fan of the aux. The aux is just a crazy amount of money. That's the obstacle of the aux. I hope UA's got such great talent there, and they got such great products. Like I keep hoping deep down they'll make a cut down version of the aux, because, there's a lot of things you don't need. The aux is not my favorite attenuation sound, but man, it's just so good. It's a good product. It just sounds good. It's easy. And it's really made for someone like me. It's really dummy proof. Like, I reviewed the aux, and in there I talked about the fact that, yeah, you can't customize a whole lot of stuff. You can't put your own IRs in there. And therefore, that's why I said, for a fraction of the price, you could get a Captor X by 2 Notes, and you got a great product, and you've got a lot of money in your pocket still, which is great. But I still lock the aux, even with the things I hate about the aux, which is I hate that they use a proprietary cable. I absolutely hate that idea. It's large, and like I said, the attenuator itself is variable. It's not variable but selective, but it's fine. But it's not the best sounding. I think the Iron Man sounds better, but I don't know what it is. I've been trying to like quantify in my head and also explain like why. Not only why I like the aux, but when you see the aux everywhere, right? I mean, you see it everywhere. I mean, not just like, every YouTube channel and stuff like that. I mean, literally, I see it every stage. Every time I turn around, there's an aux on a stage. It's just a good product. It's built well. So I like that. I like the Iron Man. I like the Captor X. I like Rivera stuff. I mean, I could go all day, all the products I like, but those 3 products are the products that I love and use and have been using since I got them. So nothing's replaced those products with me. So I'm not old, I'm vintage, said UA set the standard. Yeah, it's weird. And I'm going to trigger some people because that's what you do, unfortunately. UA aux totally reminds me of Apple products. It's expensive for what it is, right? The value proposition kind of sucks because I feel like it's a lot of money and you can get like a lot of stuff for less that's even equal or better in quality and in options. It's a lot of proprietary stuff like dongles. Like it's got its own damn cable, right? Just like Apple. It's like the aux follows the Apple business model. However, and this is just where I said people get triggered because everybody has their like fanboy thing for whatever. Here's the thing with Apple products for me. I don't care about anything else other than I've never had any of them break, right? They don't break. They kind of like retire. You just get your Apple products just so old that you go, I think I'll just get a new one. And then it goes and dies in a drawer somewhere in your house, or you get, and in fact, in our family, there's like a hierarchy to Apple. It kind of like I get new Apple product because I can justify it for work means and stuff. And then when I get new Apple product, it kind of goes down a tier, right? And then it goes down and like it ends up the kids, and then it ends up the kids' friends or whatever, so it's like a hierarchy. Oh, grandparents, right? It goes to grandparents. But it never really goes bad for me. Again, like I said, people are going to have problems, but I'm telling you, it's like if you have kids, like I've gone through so much tech, the Apple stuff just takes a beating. It takes a beating. And that's how the aux is. It just is like that. Again, also, just like Apple, very limited in like I can't do all the stuff I want to do with some of the Apple products, right? And that's my analogy for that. And again, and if that sounds like something you don't like, well, then I think I articulated it correctly. That's kind of how I feel about those products. So I use them. I don't love everything about them, but for some reason, there's something about it that works, and it's just enough for me. And also dumbed down, right? I like it very dumbed down. Just plug in. So you guys know on my aux, it's kind of a funny story. One of the things that suck about the aux, and I talked about this in review, is to change the internal settings, which you can't upload your own. You got to use their internal settings. It doesn't even use Bluetooth. It uses Wi-Fi. And you have to get I think I had to have an Apple product. So I had to have a tablet or an iPad. And then you go into it, Wi-Fi, and set everything. And I was like, this sucks. And I think when I did the review, I even mentioned like that was one of the things that bugged me. I was like, man, more crap I got to deal with. Here's what I can tell you. I think that video was at least a year ago. It's probably 2 years ago. I have not changed anything on my aux. My aux stays like, I don't know if you can see it right behind me. It's right there. Whatever I did the day I bought my aux, well, actually I experimented with a few hours with it, but whatever I did to my aux a year or two ago when I got it, it's still like that, and I'm still totally happy. Like it's just, I turn it on and I go. So that's my praise for it. And that's all the things I found wrong with it. And then, like I said, so I'm just telling you, so if you like what you heard, maybe get one. If you are like, hey, I don't want to pay a lot of money for not a lot of options, well then go ahead and go to 2 Notes. AC wants to know, Phil, what is your Apple guitar? That's a great question. Like, what's a guitar that I would say is like Apple products. I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you, my first thought is PRS, because it's like, okay, it's a lot of money for what it is. It's priced a little higher than other categories sometimes. And again, I'm going off my personal guitars. I can't talk about the world of guitars that I don't have access to or don't own. Without like seriously knowing, you know, for sure, because it's such a, I would say PRS is my, it's like an Apple product to me. It's a lot of proprietary stuff, right? That would be my guess. That, I don't know. And again, don't read too much into it because it was just off the cuff. Let's see. Dougal Dog says Parker, but it's hard to pick on Parker because they're gone. I got the other Parker video coming soon too. Octopus Ear says, hey Phil, have you ever played a King of Tone? I have a review of the King of Tone Imperial. That video is one of my favorite amp videos. Like I never saw myself as an amp review channel. Like I never saw myself as a pedal review channel. I was like, I'm a guitar channel. And then I would, you know, obviously everything that surrounds the guitar, I try to do videos of. And that was one of the few amp videos I did where I was like, I nailed it. I felt so good. Like, I'm just telling you, because it's like very rarely do I make a video and I go, that was good. Most of the time I watch the video, I do the video and I go, that's horrible. I don't know why I did that video. That video felt good because I feel like I really was on a mission to understand that amp. And I think that video did it. So yeah, King of Tone's great stuff. So, oh wait, King of Tone. Have I played a King of Tone? I'm thinking Tone King amps. Have I played a King of Tone? What's the King of Tone? Is that different than Tone King? Now, see, I'm rambling off. That's like, I feel like I'm dyslexic right now. There's a Tone King and a King of Tone. Oh, you're talking about the analog pedal King of Tone. Oh, okay. See, now I know. So the question is, see, is that the brand? No, it's Analog Man. Yeah, so King of Tone is the pedal. Okay. Have you ever played a King of Tone? Yes, I've had the Prince of Tone and the King of Tone. I sold them both. They were very, very, very good. And I sold them for 3 times, maybe 4 times what I paid for them. So this ties in, this might help you. Okay. So Octopus here this will help you with your question since you asked, because I got a question that came in email. And I told you guys, when you send email questions, sometimes I just like the question when, like they're reading it to me and I go, yeah, let's do that on the show, or let's do it as a video. And then sometimes I look at the folders, we have folders, and there's a lot of that question in the folder. The question was, somebody asked, hey, Phil, you said you sold a ton of pedals. The question was, how many pedals do I have and what pedals did I keep, so to speak, and keep using? And this actually is an easy question for me. So at one point, I know I had 300 pedals. I might have had 400 pedals, okay? At least 300, at least. Obviously, keep in mind, like I said, when I started my channel, I had my store. So, you know, I had a lot of pedals because that's what happens. A lot of times people trade in pedals and, you know, you get pedals dirt cheap, you know, and that's how it works. And I would just have pedals for that reason. And then, of course, when the pedal craze happened, I jumped on it like everybody else because it was fun to experiment and stuff. And I kind of feel like I taught myself everything I wanted to learn about pedals and stuff. So now that I've purged a lot of pedals and I'm kind of like focused on what I have, I didn't count how many pedals I have, but I can tell you with all certainty that I don't have more than 30. 30 would be rounding up. And if I have 30, it's 31 or 32. I mean, but 30 pedals. And the reason I say that is because I have a little plastic tote. It's the size of a large shoebox and it's full of pedals. And I can tell you, because it's like 3 across times 3, so that's 9. There's got to be 2 rows, right? So there you go. There's 18. And see, and then I have the pedals that are outside that thing. So that's how many pedals I currently own. Now, what pedals am I currently using? Well, I have a bunch of pedal boards, which are crazy. They're not full; they're just empty. But there's the main pedal board that I play is this one. If I use pedals, and it's this one. So let's share. This is my main pedal board. I'm gonna try and not jack this up. There you go. I'm gonna hold it like this. That way I can see it too. Look down. Sorry, I didn't think about camera angles today. So first I have my Taurus pedal. That's the boost pedal. I absolutely love this thing. I did mention on the show that they have a new one. And so far, even, I said this last time, I'm saying it again, I was even using it again and again. I like the new one. It's fine. I like it. I don't, you know, it's one of those, like, it's fine. It's just, I just don't, I like the first one. The first one works perfect. So I use the Taurus pedal as a boost, and it's everything. It's the thing that I just love. Then I have the tremolo, the Boss TR2 tremolo pedal. This is absolutely my favorite tremolo pedal. I have a couple other tremolo pedals. I don't know what it is about the Boss one. I just feel like it doesn't color the sound as much. It's just what I like. I've been using it forever. And so, you know, that's why Know Your Gear is a statement that I said. And that's what Know Your Gear is about, is I just know it. I've been using it for so long that even if I go, yeah, that one sounds a little better, I'm just so used to knowing how this is going to react to amps and how everything, I just like it and use it. In fact, I think I rest this on my shoulder. Look at that. It's going to be easier. Remember back in the day, like a boombox. Okay, so then I have one of my absolute favorite distortion pedals of all time, the 5150 Overdrive. Why? I love that it has a noise gate. I love that I don't run the gain full blast, but I use the boost. And I roll the volume off my guitar. I love this pedal. I love this pedal. I love this pedal more than the actual amp. I think the amp sounds good, especially if you run a kind of boost in front of it and a noise gate, and this pedal has that. And then the Friedman, this changes out. This is a, what do you call, wild card pedal. It will change out to the LPD A7 on the regular, right? So depending on the, you know, the time you see the board, like these, this is standard. This is standard. This is pretty standard, but like I said, this is a swap out. OD11, the OD11, I could swap that out for my Zen Drive or the LPD 68. It'll change out pretty often, but it's pretty a regular thing. This is by Love Pedals. They don't make this anymore. It's funny story about this is I think it's like a copy of like a Zen Drive type pedal. I'm not really sure, but I tend to like it better than the real pedal, whatever it's copied, if that's the thing. Then of course, Love Pedals, Purple Plexi. Absolutely love this pedal. I've had the one with the boost and I've had all the iterations and they're all the same to me, a little different here and there, but this is the one I use. This is how I get the crunch sound. And then I use the Atlantic Nu-X, and this is reverb and delay. And I changed the knobs on this one because I just thought it looked cooler with these knobs. And I have another one of these that I use when I put in the back of amps and the effects loop. So I have two of those. And then sometimes I'll use the Caverns by Kiesel for a reverb delay. But this is pretty much the pedal board, and it stays in this. These pedals are pretty much what I go to. So that's what I use. And then the box of pedals is all the weird pedals that I just think it's a bad idea to get rid of. Like, as you guys know, I love the Line 6 M1. Is it the M1? M5, right? So it's just, like I said, it has 100 pedals built in it. I can use that. I have a ZFX fuzz. I have a Big Muff Mini, you know, fuzz, right? So just a couple pedals that are off, like two wahs, so stuff like that. EQ pedal, of course, you know, right? So that's pretty much what it is. And I tend not to use a whole lot of pedals very often, and nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with pedals or so. RD says Strymon Big Sky is awesome. Yeah, I really defaulted to loving the idea of having reverb and delay in the same pedal. I don't know why. I just like the concept. Not so much on a pedal board. It's not really important to me, but I really like having one pedal that I can stick in the effects loop of an amp, and I have reverb and delay in the amp, and I love that idea. So there you go. And if I recall, my thing with the Nu-X pedal is I like the delay on the Nu-X better than the Caverns. I like the reverb on the Caverns better than the Nu-X, but more importantly, I like the function of the Nu-X, but I like the overall sound, the fullness of the Caverns. So I kind of mess with them. Again, I'll swap those two. But notice, like I said, all these pedals, when I say I'm swapping, I'm just swapping to, like, I have one or maybe two other versions of the same type of pedal. And it's probably not the pedals. Red-Eyed Flutist says, where's the wah? I have two wah pedals now. I used to have a ton of them. I have two wahs. I have a Dunlop. What do I have? I have the Dunlop Clyde McCoy wah, which I absolutely love. I think it's a great wah. I never use it. I never use it. I lied. I have three wah pedals. And so here's what's funny. So I have the Dunlop Clyde McCoy wah, which is a great wah pedal, and I have it just in case I ever need a traditional wah. I have a Morley Maverick, which is just a small spring-loaded wah. That's what I use. If I use a wah, that's what I use. I mean, that Morley all the time. And then I have a third wah. I have a limited edition George Lynch wah that was sent to me by Morley, and it's really cool because it's I think they did 300 of those pedals, or maybe they did 100. They did a really cool mini George Lynch pedal that was really cool and limited edition. And long story short, they sent it to me, and it's like number 103 or 303 out of 300. So it's like, if you guys don't know, it's very common in the industry, in all industries, but this industry specifically, that when they do limited runs of like pedals or certain things like that, they'll make marketing product. In other words, they'll make like 10 or 15 outside of that number, and it'll be for marketing. Like they'll send it to, you know, obviously YouTubers or artists or whatever. And that's what that obviously was. They made a limited run, and then these are not for sale. And that makes it even cooler because it's like, you know, it's, you know, it's not only a limited edition Crybaby or a Morley wah, so you can't even buy it because it says right on it. It's hilarious. It says limited edition, like 303 of 300. That's what I think it says on it, which is cool. And I think I got a guitar from a company once that said that, right? It said something like one of 100, and it was like number 104 of 100. I'm like, huh. So there you go. There's my pedal collection we shared with Show and Tell. That was good. That was fun for me. In fact, my pedal board's only put together. It's been a mess for months, and I haven't put it together. But I have a new video coming, and I needed the pedal board for this video. I'm very excited about a product, an amp. I'm excited about an amp that I get to use these pedals to demo with. Kyle JF90 says, just the low E of my ratio locking tuner. So he's talking about ratio locking tuners. Ratio tuners are sold by the company Graphtec, and they are different ratios. So each string has a different ratio, gear ratio. It says, okay, the low E ratio locking tuner has back and forth, has some play in it, even with the button tightened down. Is this normal? No. The ratio tuners are very fine tuners. They're more fine than normal. I think when I reviewed them once, I even mentioned that Phil X told me he hated them because, you know, he's so used to normal ratio, you know, normal gear ratios that just was a little weird for him. No, it should feel really smooth and perfect. So you might have a bad one. That's a pretty, I would reach out to them. They are a pretty cool company, the Graphtec guys. If you reach out to them, I don't know if they don't do social media anymore, but I used to work with them, and it was great because they were the only sponsor ever for Sharp and Max. They were the only people who, like everybody else who was in the Sharp and Max series, and to this day, most of everybody is just happenstance. Like, you know, they didn't even know what they were doing. They just, you know, I got product and I go, okay, I can put this in a video, and I'm going to put it in my Sharp and Max videos and stuff. But Graphtec was one of the few companies where like they saw Sharp and Max and they go, so, you know, that's what I always thought was going to happen with that series. I always thought every company was going to come out of the woodwork. Well, we want to be promoted on that video series. And there's a Sharp Max coming this week. I'm excited, but same thing. It's, you know, there's no sponsors for it. We internally sponsored this one again, but the guys at Ratio, Kyle, contact them. I would be shocked to hear if you didn't get, taken care of. Just tell them you're having an issue, tell them what the problem is. And I would imagine it does not sound right to me. So if it is within tolerance, I'll be shocked. So my guess is they're just going to send, just a guess. My guess, they'll probably send you that one key just because. Just that's what I would imagine they would do. That's what I would do if I was them. Just take care of you. It's not that expensive to put it in an envelope, bubble envelope, and send it out to you. Jenny, what's up? Congratulations, Jenny won. Pretty sure, Jenny, right? You won one of the snarks. We're not doing the snark giveaways today. It's a long story. We were supposed to do a gig bag thing. It got pushed off again. We're got a giveaway. We'll do it next week. I know I keep pushing those off. That's 2 weeks in a row. I apologize for that. But again, I don't have the infrastructure to handle it today. I don't have anybody to help me. I'm all alone today. So Jenny says, hey, just wanted to say thank you for the snark tuner. Okay, Jenny, I think you won the snark tuner. arrived today and works great. I'm glad you loved it. And like I said, we'll do more. Trust me, we have lots more to do and stuff. Like I said, it's just, please understand, I'm just focused on the show, and next week I'll have help again. Vim69 says, hey, Phil and KWG crew, phone for the tone jar. We need tone. We need more tone. Is that what the tone jar is? It's just more tone. So if I get more money, I get more tone. That's gear math, right? More money, more tone. More money, more tone, more problems. I got too much tone. But thank you. I appreciate it, man. That was really cool. Litvey, he says, thanks for the Samick Corsair mini hint. Oh, nice. Impulse buy with a price match. I love it. Also, it is great. So we were talking about the Corsair mini guitars and basses, mostly the basses, last week. And he found one. That's awesome. Finally got in touch via website about the Valiant certificate. Oh, cool. Awesome. And if you went to the website, Shauna she's dealing with some other stuff right now. So once she's back here, she will get on that. That's why there's no Snark giveaways, like, because she's dealing with some stuff, and so I can't go, hey, and by the way, deal with this too. Mike says, hey, I got a Martin HD 2812 string today. Congratulations. Looking for the best pickup for it. I am looking at the LR Bags Hi-Fi acoustic pickup. I think that's the new one that just came out, right? I think they released a new one. Are you familiar with it? I am not. Do you recommend something else? Thanks for the advice. Look, the LR, I like LR Bags, so it's a simple, easy answer. What I can tell you is that I do have a video. Let me see if I can look on the schedule. I do have a video on that is supposed to be April 27th, and it is going to be demonstrating the Fishman pickups, 2 different Fishman pickups. It's not a Fishman review video, so it's not that. It's a acoustic review video, but in the reviewing the acoustic, I had this idea. I thought it'd be cool. I reached out to Fishman guys and I asked them for 2 Fishman pickup solutions. One is something where I'm going to be drilling into this acoustic and doing stuff, and one is where I don't have to do that, to show you. And then A/B that is in the process. It's kind of like I said, it's kind of like, I'm not doing an official review of those products. I wanted those products to show you guys in this acoustic what you could do. So that might help you. That video might be what you want. And if you don't go Fishman, that's fine. But at least you'll see the 2 different types of pickups, because they have, because I believe LR Bags has the same similar systems, the pop-in kind, and then the ones you fully modify. What's up, Michael? Michael says, does anyone make a guitar tone pot in a pedal? Would that work? Well, I mean, somebody had to have. The $1 million question that I can't answer, because I'm not wired that way. In other words, there's nothing I've tested that would know. There might be an issue with some kind of like running all that guitar cable to a pedal first, right? I'm giving you, this is all conceptual, an idea, right? I'm saying, yes, if you're asking me, can you take a potentiometer, put a capacitor on it, stick it in a box, right? Run a guitar cable through it, run it like a pedal, passive, because it wouldn't need any kind of juice, and then use it like a on-off tone control? Sure, absolutely. You could build that in a second, and it would totally work. The question is, and somebody's saying an EQ pedal, that would be slightly different. I mean, let's think of a tone control as a very basic, very boring EQ pedal. And maybe that's not exactly what he's going for. I think he's kind of like saying, hey, instead of like, turning my tone pot halfway, can I just set it on a pedal and then turn it on and off? You absolutely could. The question I don't know, here's what I don't know. Would it be different because you're running like 10 foot of cable between the guitar to the pot, then to to the amp? Would that change it versus being right there in the guitar? I don't know. I don't foresee it being a massive difference, but I wouldn't know. I didn't test it. But can you do it? Yeah, you could totally do it. You could do it with a cardboard box. You could just get a little ring box, drill a hole, stick a pot in there, solder on the capacitor, run 2 output jacks or input then output jacks, solder to it, and run it as a pass through, and then wire a little plunger as a bypass. Yeah, I mean, you could build it in a cardboard box, see if it works. I would imagine it would do it. Of course, like everybody's saying, you can use an EQ pedal too, but I don't see an EQ pedal as being exactly the same. I'm sure it can mimic it, because that's why I like EQ pedals. You can use them to mimic anything. But I would imagine the tone control is what you're going after. It's like, I understand what you're saying. I think what Michael's going after is sometimes I like to put a tone control in a sweet spot and it'd be nice if I can just push a button and get out of it. You know what I would do before I would do a pedal on that? If you had a guitar, you could make a bypass for your tone control, which is really cool. So if you used I would use a push-push pot, but you could use a push-pull pot. But if you use a push-push pot on a tone control, you could set it up to where you set your tone control and then like push down, right? And it will lock down. And then your tone control is on, let's say halfway, wherever you set it, and you tap it, it would pop up and it would bypass. So you could do it with your hand in a second. And you would need almost no, this is not like electrical engineering 101. This is as basic can get. And I would actually think that would be faster and easier than trying to wire up a pot or a pedal. So there you go. That's my thought on that. Nathan just said, hey, I just paid $5 to say hi, I'm from the NAM. Hey, Nathan from the NAM. This is funny. I hope you're having a good time at NAM. Nathan went to the show yesterday and today. I think he's going tomorrow. I'm not sure. Tom H says, hey, thanks for showing us the tremolo, buddy. I love that thing. And you know what? I agree with every comment about it ever. I read them all and I love them all. I love everyone who's like, I built this at Harbor Freight for a fraction of the price. Good for you. That's kind of like my channel is so weirdly at odds with each other. And I love doing the content that I like to do, even though sometimes I feel like I make a video and that video is at direct odds with another video. I mean, what I mean by that is, here's a video where I'm like, for no money, here's how you fix your guitar. And then that makes me like, okay, cool. I'm a help you channel, you know, not self-help, but a fix and help channel. And then the next video, it's like, look at this expensive thing you can just buy. And that's what I think about videos like that, is when I make those videos, like I said, I don't get anything if you buy those stuff, like none of this stuff. There's affiliate links, but so you know, 90% of the time, those affiliate links are randomized to the point where there's no real cohesive thing, right? It's more about getting you to their websites than it is selling you that one product. That being said, I have very few deals where I'm getting paid if you buy stuff. So if you see something and buy it, good for you. If you see something and clone it and build your own, better for you. Do that. I could care less. So the Tremolo Buddy, if you guys didn't watch that video, it's a product that this guy came up with, and it basically is one of those, like, it feels like a late night TV commercial product where it's like, I solved this problem. It's really cool. I've been using it. Totally love it. They sent one to me. I obviously liked enough to do the video. So, it's like a $30 thing, and I did a whole video. You have to understand, you can imagine, I'm sure if you watch any YouTube videos, there's not a whole lot of YouTube channels with, 250,000 subscribers doing videos for $30. So obviously I did it because I wanted to do that product. I thought it was cool. Right? So I did it. But I'll tell you, like, if they didn't send me one, I probably would have made one too. I mean, because I could have made one for $10-15, but also, I don't know, it's cool for $30. So like I said, I liked it. So I'm glad you liked it. And I'm glad, like I said, I love the comments. Some people are like, I love it. I got it. Like, Tom, you love it. You got it. Awesome. Some people are like, I love it. And I made one. Then make one. Made life easy. Yeah, me too. It's really it's such a good idea that you feel like, I wish the guy could make money on the idea more than the actual product, because the idea was great. U21R87 hike said, there's no hike at the end, but that's what I saw. He says, which is the best deal? Okay. Would you pick? He means me. Epiphone limited edition 1959 Les Paul. I reviewed that guitar. PRS DGT or PRS SE McCarty 594. So of those three guitars, I would buy the PRS SE McCarty 594. Those three guitars. I reviewed all three of those guitars. I've deep dived all three of those guitars. I liked all three. But you asked me, which one would I pick? If I could pick one of the guitars that I went through of those three, I love the Dave Grissom guitar. It's fantastic. I think I slightly prefer the neck over the 594 neck, but I like the 594. Why? It's at this point, it's just a ton of practical reasons. One, well, I mean, the Epiphone comes with a case. That's nice. And the PRS comes with a gig bag. That's also nice. I prefer gig bags to cases, but still are nice. I don't know what it is. I just like the 594 better. So interesting enough, I'll tell it to you like this. If you ask me, what would I pick, a Core DGT, a Core 594, or a Gibson R9, I picked the Gibson R9. If you ask me if I picked the Epiphone 59 versus those two SEs, I'd pick the McCarty SE. There's no particular reason for like quality reasons to make that decision. It's just, I'm telling you of all the guitars I played, what I liked. For some reason, I like the 594. To me, and I guess actually maybe I can. I'm glad sometimes when I'm answering these questions, I try to keep going to see if I can actually flush out the thought I'm going to have. And here's exactly why I'm going to do it. I love the Epiphone 1959. I think it's great. I think if you don't have $6,000, that's a great guitar. And if you get that, it's a great guitar. But for some reason, the SE 594, when I played it, it felt so close to the real thing. Like really close. Like the whole time I was playing it, it just felt and sounded so close to the real thing that it made me go, I don't know, do you need the real thing? The real thing being the super expensive thing. Where when I played the Epiphone 59, which is great, it didn't feel like the R9. It feels great. It sounds great. There's a lot of good things going on, but it's not the R9. It's just because of a physical, just the differences in the way they physically feel a little bit. So that's what I would pick. So Scott says, do you get to play them first? Do I get to play them first? Yeah. I guess as part of the question, do I get to check them all out first? Those, I don't know. In that scenario, I don't know. I'm just saying that's based on my reviews. That's what I would have picked. Yeah. And that also, I might be colored. Oh, I should also warn you, U21 RW87. I might be colored from the actual physical guitars I played. Because when I think about those reviews, I remember liking the Dave Grissom, liking the 59 Les Paul, but I really like that SE McCarty 594. Grumpy My Guitar says, for the tone jar, and why not? Hey, we need more tone. Do you have plans to do any factory tours in the not too distant future? I love the factory tours. I don't, but I can tell you what I do want to do them. Yes, absolutely. I talked about the doing more when COVID kind of subsided. I would really like to do the Kiesel tour. Like I would like to tour Kiesel. I would like to do like a shop like Nags. I mean, there's a lot of places I like to go. Little shops, bigger factories. So I love doing the factory tours. I like it. So, you know, one of the things that's nice about stuff like that is that it's nice to make content. It's kind of like the Sweetwater visit I did last year. It's nice to make the content. Like, here's how they do the 55 points. Here's the backstory. What's really nice, though, is this live show every Friday. You guys are throwing all these random questions at me about all kinds of things. You know, it's like I don't want to just pull stuff from my ass like, oh, I think this and I think that. I mean, it's nice to go like, oh, when I was there, like those three, that question I just got from U21 RW87. It's like I've actually played and taken apart those three guitars. So I'm like, yeah, when he asked me the question, it's still my opinion, but at least it's based on something more than just my gut instinct or like a distant memory. It's something I can say I can pull from. So same thing. I like it when people ask me questions about companies and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I was just there, and this is what it was like. So I'd like to do some more factory tours. Absolutely. Funky Groove, thank you for the super chat. Ray says thoughts on solo gig with just a Strat. Thoughts on it? Like just doing a solo gig, just you and a Strat? Sounds good to me. I guess in compared to what? Not doing an acoustic, like just having an electric guitar with a Strat? To me, a Strat is, out of all the electric guitars, I would think the answer should be Telecaster, but it's not to me. When I think of an electric guitar that feels the most like an acoustic, it's a Strat. I think if you were to ask a lot of guitar players, I'm really curious. You guys can put the comments and I'll read them too. When you think of an electric guitar that makes you play and vibe like an acoustic, I'm not talking about a hybrid. So don't tell me like the Taylor T5. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like an electric guitar. When I think of an electric guitar that vibes and makes me play and feel like an acoustic, it's always a Strat. It's like, for some reason, all the things I like about acoustic, the percussiveness, the feel, a Strat feels like that to me. Les Paul should, because it's kind of a big sounding guitar, but it doesn't. So I could see why somebody would take a Strat and play on stage like an acoustic or do a solo gig. I would see that because I kind of feel the same way. When I play the Strat, it's always that feeling, like an acoustic. I feel closest to the acoustic fan, and more so than even a hollow body guitar. It's just, for some reason, the Strat just has that vibe. So, could also be the pickups too, because the single coil pickups in a Strat really do a lot of things that, to me, the acoustic does naturally too. The low end feels thumpy, the highs are really articulate and they're chimey. That's probably why when I'm playing the Strat, because I hear that, I want to do that. Maybe that's what it is too. Jacob says, happy Friday. Any tips for nylon strung classical guitars to keep them playing great and in good working order? Yeah, two things for maintenance on classical guitars, nylon string guitars. Two things. Make sure you stretch them correctly. That's a big deal. And that's a pretty self-explanatory thing, but also, I like to have string cleaner for classical guitars. I find that the wrapped strings on a classical guitar can corrode really bad and they get really dull sounding. And sometimes people like that. I don't love that so much. Sometimes it's nice. If you don't want to use any string cleaner type materials, just make sure you keep a nice clean cloth. I always tell everybody to use cotton flannel or microfiber just because you're being around the guitar. But always wipe your strings. Get all that oil and dirt from your hands off the strings every time you play. That's the only thing I think you have to do. That's the only thing I really worry about. Avibos says, I don't know if I'm jacking up your name, probably. I apologize. Says, hot rail style versus full-size humbuckers. Look, I got a video on that and where I compared that, and I absolutely am full-size humbuckers all the way. Like said, to me, going with the hot rail style, especially the mini humbuckers and the hot rail styles, right? Like what Steve Duncan has a hot rail. Obviously, DiMarzio has all his are basically a hot rail style. All those pickups to me, they're cool sounding. They sound great. I love them. I have them in guitars, but it's, to me, as a direct replacement for humbucker, when somebody's like, I have a mini humbucker, it's the same. It's not the same. It's a different sound. It's a great sound. It's a different sound. So, and if given me a choice, if you said, hey, I can have, a mini humbucker, hot rail, or a humbucker, I would always take a humbucker for that reason. For the most part, like I said, I just like it. Maybe change in the future. I don't know. Funky Groove, thank you again for the super sticker. Beats Rich 581, what's up? He says, gun-toting teen drama is worth a super chat. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's one of those stories that, like I said, I normally wouldn't, it's not that I want to talk about it, but when somebody's like, oh, disgruntled customer, I'm like, well, you can't beat that. But also it's one of those things you think like, I don't know, just never thought, you just don't think. You think like, oh yeah, maybe we'll get robbed. That happens. But never think like, oh, somebody's just going to be upset and pull a weapon. You're like, I had this employee, his name's Chuck, and his dad is also named Chuck. And his dad is they're both very talented. Chuck's a talented guy, and his dad is very talented musicians and working musicians. And they're a very musical family, a whole family of musicians. And Chuck would work the store, and he had a super pleasant demeanor about him. And one day, I remember, I don't know if he was selling strings or something. Some guy got upset, and minor upset, grumpy, frump, right? And I remember, like, the guy left, and I just remember Chuck saying, if that guy got upset in here, how does that guy take the real world? Because we were just so easygoing. And I always love that saying. Like, if you're gonna get upset here, what are you gonna do with the rest of the world? So like, I think about that teen drama gun thing. Like, if this kid's snapping because of this, that's why I said, I'm like, I don't know what to think. This is about as laid back, as chill as you can get. Charvel Gaming, what's up? He says, Jackson Soloist X Series, any good? I'm looking into the Crackle Finish version. I love the Crackle Finish version one as well. The way it looks, I mean, it's amazing. For the price, $1,000, it's not cheap. I think they're $1,100 now, but you can get them for $1,000. But that finish is just gorgeous. Here's my thoughts on the Jackson Indonesia series, but keep in mind that Crackle Finish is made in China. I'm just saying that just it's a manufacturer difference. It's important to know it's a different factory than the standard Indonesian factory where a lot of Jacksons are being pulled from. My experience with those Jacksons they are amazing or not amazing. There's usually not an in-between. So when my experience with playing those type of guitars, working on those kind of guitars, It's kind of like you get one, and if it's great, you're like, just start playing it. If you get one, it's bad. Don't be afraid to swap it, send it back, and get another one if it's a legit problems, because for some reason things just slip through for those. Maybe, I don't know what it is, the high volume or just the different types of factories. I have not seen any of the Crackle finish ones have any issues, with the fretwork or anything like that. But, also, I would also be prepared, like everything now, it seems like, to do a little setup and work on it. Of course, that's a pretty normal thing. Great guitar, though. When you look at them, that's a guitar. When I think of that guitar in particular, he's talking about he said the Crackle finish, so I don't know which Crackle finish. There's a couple. And some of those Crackles actually may be Indonesia as well. I know the multi-colored, like rainbow looking Crackle, the purple, red, green, yellow one is manufactured in a Chinese factory. And I'm assuming, and the reason I keep mentioning that is because I'm assuming it's manufactured in a different factory because of the paint work. It's you got to go to the factories that have the ability and have the skill set to do that. And I haven't seen it done in the Indonesian factories. So, but that guitar looks like $1 million. Looks great. Joseph says, "Hey Phil, what is your experience with Tom Anderson guitars? Any thoughts on the Buzz Feiten system? I'll talk about that in a second. Tuning system on those guitars." So Buzz Feiten or Feiten, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I hear, I think of this. I was never certified. You can get, at least you used to back in the day, you used to get Buzz Feiten certified and you get trained to him. And again, one of you guys is going to probably correct me. I think I used to say Buzz Feiten. Here's what happened. I have a funny thing. We had a rep at the store who sold us tuners that were Buzz Feiten certified. And one day I asked him, I said, "Hey, how do you say Buzz? Is Buzz Feiten or Buzz Fetten?" He goes, "It's Fetten." And then a couple months later, he came to the store and we were talking and I said, "Buzz Fetten." And he goes, "It's Buzz Feiten." I go, "Is it Feiten?" And he was messing with us. He thought it was funny. So now I can't remember which one was the real one because he always messed with us. So if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. It's not like normally, like I just don't remember. I just remember he just always messing with it. If you're not familiar with that system, basically this guy, Buzz Fetten, he created this system where how you carve the nut essentially improves the intonation, right? So Washburn uses it. Obviously, Tom Anderson uses it. There is a special way you have to tune the guitars, so it's not that hard. It's not a big deal. And you're supposed to have a special tuner for that. I don't think you have to specifically buy it. I think you just have to go on his website now and figure out which tuners do it. I haven't. What happened with me was I was doing it, like guitars would come in with the system on it and I would set them up the correct way. I would never notice a difference. So then over time, no one asked me to do it. So I stopped just caring and I would just do it the standard way. Rad Furry says, "What is the Buzz Fetten thing?" He goes, "Two of my Washburns say it on the back." Yeah, it's a tune. So basically, it's hard to tell because when you're looking at it, what it is the nut is carved slightly different to improve the intonation. That's basically it. The way I use to explain it, the best way I have to explain it is this, okay? I'm going to show you something. Maybe. Come on, images. Here it goes. Come on, a good picture. Somewhere. All right, here you go. All right, here we go. I'm going to show this real quick. This is an Nirvana nut. You guys have seen it if you've seen them on Music Man guitars. I just grabbed a picture. You can see here, almost like a fan fret system or something like that. See where it's staggered different points for improved intonation. You see that right there? This is not Buzz Fetten. This is the Nirvana system. However, the Buzz Fetten system or Feiten system is a concept like that. It's a lot harder to detect. You look at the nut and it looks absolutely the same. Maybe the nut's slightly thicker on one side. I can't remember. Like I said, I didn't get certified for it. I remember like you could pay to get certified from it. We had a tech that worked at the shop that was certified. So anytime I had anybody that wanted it, I would just send it to him. To Darren. And somebody says, yeah, the Peterson clip-on does the tuning. Like I said, I'm pretty sure thank you, Charles. I'm pretty sure all the good tuners do it. back in the day, you could get, you know, like Sabine tuners or Korg tuners, and they're definitely Sabine, and they would say Buzz Feiten, you know, certified or whatever, and you could just use that to do the system. And then Willful Thinker says, did Music Man buy Nirvana? I don't know if they bought Nirvana. I don't know. I just know they like to adopt it and put it on their guitars. So essentially that's what that system is. So that's why you have it. So to Joseph's question, he wants to know what's my thoughts on that. The system, seems to work. I don't know. Think of this. You can get it on a Floyd guitar. My N4s have it, and it's a standard Floyd Rose looking nut. So again, it's a slight variance. Maybe it's in the scale length. I'm sure you can Google it. It's just, I don't know how it works because it's not something I ever versed myself in. I'm just aware of the concept is familiar to that same kind of like adjusting the scale slightly on strings to get better intonation. That being said, Tom Anderson also uses it as well, as my understanding. And I played a ton of Tom Anderson guitars. I love Tom Anderson guitars. I absolutely adore Tom Anderson guitars, so you know. Why? I don't know why specifically. To me, quality-wise, they're like Sir. Like when I think of Sir, and you guys know I brought up Sir in the past many times, that I love their guitars, but I always kind of feel like Sir gets this like nothing's like a Sir kind of attitude. And again, I'm always like, yeah, they're great. I think my Kiesels are great. I think Tom Anderson's are great. I think a lot of the, you know, really high attention to detail, the Ibanez Prestige, same thing, really great guitars. Yeah, Willful Thinker says it's required a nut slot reposition slightly. That's exactly the way I understand it too. So, you know, I haven't worked on any kind of Buzz Feiten type guitars like that in probably 15 years. It was a thing. It's still being used and manufacturers use it, but it was a thing for a while. Like guitar players were definitely having their guitars switched over to it for a little while. Now you just see certain manufacturers use it, and I'm sure it works great. I have no complaints. But that, oh, David said Music Man patented their system and sued Nirvana. Okay. So that's good to know too, because they are very similar looking. Very nice. So anyways, like I said, this that's more important to this is the Tom Anderson stuff. Love Tom Anderson. If the question is why don't I own a Tom Anderson guitar? They're just expensive, man. Can't own everything. That's basically it. And for me, when the guitars get expensive like that, I mean, one, it makes it harder to obtain them, harder to trade for them, harder to buy them. But more importantly, the more expensive the guitar is, the more I have to have exactly what I have to have. Like it has to be exactly what I want. It's you get what you get and you don't throw a fit attitude does not work for me when the guitars get that expensive. So the fact is, sometimes I find it very kind of boring when it's like $5,000 and it comes in 3 colors. Like none of those colors are the colors I want. Like, can I get any color for $5,000? I'm still trying. Everybody's trying to get used to inflation. Excuse me. I'm just trying to get used to the fact that, you know, I remember when I would dream about $3,000, $5,000 guitars, you know, not 20 years ago, not 10 years ago. We're talking about just a couple years ago, you know. I remember when you would think about those crazy price guitars, the biggest appeal to me was you got what you wanted. You know, like, oh, I could get a guitar, but I could finally get in the color I want and the way I want. And now when I look at all these high-end guitars, it's always like, this is what we have. We have 2. You have less selection, less choices. So it's not very exciting to buy expensive guitars for me. It's just nuts, you know, right? It's like, you know, I want something unique and cool. And it's obviously to get unique and cool, a lot of times you have to either modify it yourself. Like I said, you can make something unique and cool out of anything, or you have to pay a lot of money. But I feel like a lot of times the stuff that's a lot of money now, it's not unique and cool. It looks like everything else. So, but like I said, Tom Anderson, maybe one day. Matthew wants to know, are you attenuating your ampliphonics and gain amp? I am not. I did not for the video, and I'm not doing it currently now when I play the amp. I haven't needed to. It does high gain at a low volume. And the only thing you can't do is, look, there's the clean channel gets dirty. And that thing's like a plexi. It'll just rip your face off and destroy the room. Everything will come crashing down. It's loud. And so that you'd probably want to attenuate. But for me, if I'm going to use the gain, I'm going to use the actual gain channel because it's more controllable at lower volumes. So there you go. K Guitar Works with an E. LLC says, does the Nuno In4 have that nut? It doesn't have that nut. It has a Floyd note, but it is a Buzz Feiten system, so it's adjusted somehow. Both the In4s I have the Buzz system. So obviously that implies that the nut is adjusted. And so, like I said, it's probably not the actual nut. We keep saying nut. It might not even be the nut. It might be just the fretboard. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't measure it, but maybe if we measure the edge of the fretboard where the nut touches to the bridge, maybe the scale length is slightly varied from the low E to the high E. Maybe that's what it is. Just a slight tilt. I'm not sure. James says it's pronounced Feiten. So that could be right. I don't know. Feiten? Buzz Feiten. That makes sense. See, I couldn't even get it right, even with the two ones I had. So... Red Furry 23 is an old school fan of the show. He says, do you still have a massive pick collection? I do. I have a pretty huge pick collection. My collection of pedals is gone. My collection of picks is obviously, what am I going to do with that? It doesn't take up a lot of room. It's in my in my dresser, in my drawer, in the other room. I love it. I don't really add to the collection anymore. I haven't bought any picks in a long time, specifically for trying new picks. So I don't add a whole lot to it, but I still have it. I haven't gotten anything out of it. And of course I have a huge pickup collection, and that's of course more for work than for anything else. But it's just, where, like I said, the pick collection was because I decided I was going to use picks, and then I wanted to learn all I could about picks. So Dan says, Buzz, what a terrible name for a guitar product. Yeah, that's kind of bad, right? Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, I would say, yeah. It's like having a dentist last name's Payne. Dr. Payne, we'll see you now. Okay. Steven says, hey, does a Bigsby bridge affect playability? Does it affect the playability? Not to me. I kind of love it. I have one obviously on this scratch ride behind me. I love the way they feel. I like, it doesn't really change anything. No, I'm going to say no. It doesn't change. It doesn't affect the playability. Is it the same as if not having a Bigsby? No, it's not the same, but it's not something like I would go, oh my God, this is so dramatically different. You can just move the arm out of the way and play it like a Tone Pro style bridge. You probably wouldn't even notice. And so Max says, hey, what are your thoughts on the stacked P90s versus PAFs? Stacked P90s. I'm not a huge fan of stacked P90s. Noiseless P90s. Just like noiseless single coils. Not a huge fan of them. Do I dislike them? No. In fact, the other day I was playing one of my guitars with P90s and I was kind of thinking like, maybe it's time to put a stacked P90 in the bridge because it's really the 6-cycle hum was really out of control. And it was recording, so it was kind of a nightmare. And I was like, I got to get the noise gate out, put it on there. And then I was thinking, maybe I'll get a stacked P90. But still not my favorite. Again, I don't dislike them. I just don't prefer them. They don't sound as good to me. HK says, hey, please recommend any compact preamp pedals to go into a Seymour Duncan power stage and real cab after a choice of overdrive pedals. I don't need an amp sim. Thanks for your help. So you're talking about preamp pedals? The problem is I don't really have a reference of what you're looking for sound-wise. When I think of preamp pedals, I think of like the Soldano pedal. Essentially, let me just use it this way. Any overdrive pedal, here's what I would say. Any overdrive pedal that has as many controls as an amp is, to me, is a preamp pedal. So if you have a gain, volume, treble, bass, and middle, and a presence control, it's going to pretty much work like a preamp of an amplifier sound-wise. And so that's all it really matters to me. It's not so much that they deem it a preamp pedal, that it has the control like a preamp, so I can tailor my sound a little bit. So in that case, I mean, you can use anything that has those controls. So don't worry about what I say is like, oh, this is a good pedal. Just look for that control layout. Look for control. Like I said, you want those ones I just mentioned. You want gain, volume, bass, middle, treble, treble, the 3 EQs, and then of course presence. Presence would be nice. I like to have it, but at least those. Luciano says, new guitar day 2013 Gibson LP Les Paul 60s tribute with BB Burstbucker 1, Burstbucker 2 pickups. Thinking of putting a Les Paul Classic PCB with 4 push pulls. Will it fit and work fine? Yes, the Les Paul Classic PCB drop-in should drop in. It's a standardized route with Gibson. It should not be a problem. Are the Gibson 61T and 61R and BB Burstbucker 60s the same pickups? Nope, they're different. Burstbucker 1 and 2 versus Burstbucker 60s thoughts. I don't know specifically. I like the Burstbuckers and that's it. That's the ones I like. I don't even know. That's the ones I get. I like Burstbucker pick. Let me take it back. I like those pickups. That's not what I put in my Gibsons. I put 57 Classics in all my Gibsons. If my Gibsons, like I think my SG had like the 61T and the 61R, I think, and they're fine. I didn't take them out. I like them. And I have another Gibson that has the Burstbuckers. Fine. I like them. Like I said, they play good. I don't yank pretty much any of the Gibson pickups out of any of my Gibson guitars. But if, like for instance, I was by a used Gibson and somebody put some other brand of pickups in there and I don't know them or like them, I usually grab 57 Classics. That's what I put in there. So not because they're better, just that's what I like. It's a preference thing. It's like I just like the way they react and sound with most of the amplifiers I play. So that keeps that easy for me. Arrows for Audio says, for the emergency Woodford Reserve Fund. So did I talk about Woodford? Must have. I must have mentioned that's what we like. Yeah, we like Woodford. I'll buy the because I told the story about buying the 2 soccer mom size Woodford Reserves at the Costco for Christmas, and the cashier judged us. So it's kind of funny. It's funny because does anyone else have that problem? I can't. When you got to get liquor, I'm just going to weirdest thing is just because he brought up the Woodford thing. Sometimes I'll look at like the vodka thing and you have the 2 vodkas and like it's $20 or $25 and then one's like $50 or whatever, or $40, whatever it is. It's like a lot cheaper to buy the big one, right? I don't know what it is about big liquor bottles. When I see them when you go to the Bevmo or you go to the Costco or whatever, whenever I see the big liquor bottles, I'm always like, yeah, I can't buy that. Can't be judged for that. Just can't walk up to the register with that. Just it's too big. So and then you're mad because you're like, buy it. The smaller one costs more. So it's kind of funny. That's what I think about the Woodfords. Those things were huge. They were like giant. They look like giant cologne bottles. They were so huge. So yeah, for the Woodford. So the Dan Crow says, hey, Phil, I got a G&L ASAT, just like saying that. Z3 with the Z coils, loving the sound, but the pickups still look funny. What's your favorite ugly guitar? Oh, that's fun. Yeah, and they do look funny. What's my favorite ugly guitar? Well, my Mira is kind of ugly. It's boring to me. I'm looking around the room. I always feel bad. I don't want to say, but I don't want to. I just want to start with this. Not because, somebody out there has this guitar and they'll be, sad that I said this. I always feel bad for the builders. But when I think of my favorite ugly guitar, it's my Strandberg. It looks like a puzzle piece. It just looks like it looks like somewhere there's somebody who wants to complete a puzzle and they can't because I have it as a guitar. The Strandbergs look like a puzzle piece to me with a stick sticking off of it. That's my favorite ugly guitar by far. And And some of you guys go, I love it. That's great if you love it. I just, that would be my answer to that question. So, and then, it's funny though, cause you mentioned pickups, the Z coils. To me, when I think of ugly pickups, it's zebra pickups. I have zebra pickups in a lot of guitars, the tan and black zebra pickups. And to me, they're always like, every time I see them, I'm like, oh, looks so not cool. But I have them in so many guitars, so I'm sure a lot of you are like, oh, you must like them. I'm like, they're just in there. I mean, I don't hate them, so I'm not going to remove them, but I don't love them. I don't look at any zebra pickups and go, yeah, that's the way to go. K.O. Dahmer, I'm going to say Odomer, says, I got a classic Vibe 70 Strat that needs a fret dressing, level, fret-in job. How big does a pro fret job make playability wise? Oh, it makes a huge difference. Never had one done. Look, it's a big deal because obviously you want those frets not only leveled, that's important how it plays, but crowned properly because that's better intonation. Believe it or not, if your frets aren't crowned properly, your intonation's not dialed in as nice. It plays massively different. Now keep this in mind. This is the tough part. So I don't want to just say it. Not all crown and levels, not all work is the same. So if some guy gets it that jacks up your guitar because he doesn't do good work, it could be worse. You might be better off. So I guess my answer to your question is, if you can find somebody that can do it, or you can learn to do it yourself, it's going to make a huge difference. It's massive. You're going to love it. If you take it to somebody, or you try and you don't do a good job, you're not only going to not notice it, it may make things worse. Grumpy Digga just said, just because you're a bloody good guy, cheers. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say. And then RD, the super chat, T-sized says, hey, higher end Epiphones or cheaper Gibson SG. I'm not opposed to modding another Epiphone. If need be, just don't always want to work on them. On this is a simple answer for me, an Epiphone and Gibson. I've said this a million times. Gibsons are investments. That's how I look at them. I've said I play Gibson SGs. The main reason I play the Gibson SG is because you can find them, when you find them on a deal, you buy them at the right price, they're worth what you paid, and then they're worth more. I'm not losing money on those ever. I'm not trying to make money on them. They're guilt-free. You're just playing a guitar that essentially, like, I play this guitar until I die, and then my kids cash out and they get more than what I paid for it. And because of that, that's the value. Epiphone is like that too. Don't worry, guitars go up. It's not that. But I mean, a Gibson is, out of all the guitars in the world that I've ever seen, sold and bought and sold, through the store, through me personally, through the world, Gibsons are the easiest things to sell, get rid of. Everybody's always looking for a Gibson on a deal, or just Gibson, period. And so that's kind of like I said, when I told you guys, when I bought my ES335, I bought a Gibson, and I even said it in that video. Look, the Epiphone was fine. I just got it. I had a dealer that was willing to take $500 off the price of I actually didn't know that the pandemic was happening. The guitar boom was going to happen when I made that video. If you go back and watch that video, I actually said in that video, I got that guitar for $500 off and, or below, and it was a good deal and it was worth what I paid for it. It's actually, that is funny. I bought a Gibson ES35, and I know if I sold it right now, if I threw it on Reverb right now, it's almost $1,000 more than I paid for it. And I bought it new. So it's worth $1,000 more used because they've jacked up the prices so much because of all the stuff and just everything. So, yes, Dan says you can always park money in a Gibson. Yes, we use the term parking money all the time. And Gibson is just one of those companies. So I always say it because there's truth to some players love Gibsons more than Epiphones. There's truth that, like, Joe Bonamassa loves a vintage Les Paul more than a new one. I'm sure there's some truth to that. My dog's freaking out. But also keep in mind, he's also rich, and he's doing what rich people do, which is he's investing. He's right. Like my joke is, what's worth more than a 63 Strat? A 63 Strat played by Joe Bonamassa. So if he buys a 63 Strat and plays it, it's worth more than what he paid for it. So I'm not saying that's his desire, but what's nice about this thing that we love, whether you're a professional musician, a semi-pro musician, a collector, a hobbyist, there's this reality to this. You know, I have friends that are into Legos. That's why I bring up Legos a lot. The same thing, they can buy Legos, and you do Legos long enough, I watch them, they stop spending money almost. Like then they're like, I sold off all these bricks I didn't need and I got $700 and I took that and I bought the new Lego stuff. I mean, you know, it's nice to have your hobby subsidize itself a little bit. Takes a lot of the guilt off, especially if you're a father or a mother, or, you know, and you're responsible for, I don't know, being responsible to somebody else and paying food for them. If your love and passion isn't depleting, you know, family resources. So anyways, my point is, what's my point? My point is that, that's a lot of times when I talk about Gibsons, Epiphones, I want to be clear because that's how I'm speaking. And some players are speaking that way too. Like it's a better investment, for that logic for your money. But when you're asking like, which one do I prefer? I don't even know, with an SGE, if I even have a preference of Gibson, Epiphone. To me, as long as they have, to me, if I got an Epiphone SG and I put 57 Classics Gibson pickups in it, I would be totally tickled and happy. I would probably like it even more because I actually prefer polyurethane over a nitrocellulose lacquer. So yeah, think about that. So if Gibson came with a polyurethane finish, well, sadly enough, I might consider it, but also I'd be afraid, like, I know what I want to buy it off me after I was done. Martin says, and some of you guys are going to say, well, I don't buy guitars like that. I buy them forever. Yeah. I'm not just thinking about me. I'm thinking about, like I said before, when I die, all this stuff, my family's got to sell all this crap. They got to sell all this. And so I'm sure they're going to hate me a lot less when they're like, Dad's guitars were annoying, but hey, I got a new Subaru. I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't know. And then Martin said, thanks. I really enjoy your work. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. Hold on. I just want to make sure that I got as my screen refreshes. Okay. I just want to say Michael, is the last super chat. So we have Danny Concarney, like chili con carne, like Danny. Oh, okay. Danny says, howdy, Phil. Would it be a good idea to put a buffer polytune pedal before a DI box? Love the stream. I like using a buffer pedal. I'm not really into the whole true bypass. I like pushing the signals. I like having signal. I like the amp because if the amp's reacting to a buffered signal, I'll just roll my volume back a little bit. I kind of like that. There's when I watched the Dave Grissom, him talk about his guitar after I did the review, because I don't know if I mentioned this. It was like a really cool, you know, when you have kind of cool moments on the YouTube platform. One of the cool moments is I did a video of the Dave Grissom guitar, and then I guess he was being interviewed and he mentioned my review and how he said some very flattering things about me, which is very nice, right? And they were really heartfelt things. They were like, he's like kind of like, the way I read it, I don't remember exactly, but it was something like, he doesn't know who I am, obviously. He's like, I don't know who that Phil McKnight guy is, but his video is very detailed, it's very good, and I think he knew more about the guitar than I did. And I was like, oh, cool, man, that's a really nice thing to hear, kind of thing. And but he was talking about how he uses it. Funny enough, that's kind of how I do it too. I showed you guys I have a boost pedal. I like to roll my volume back a little bit on my guitar and then kick a boost pedal on. And you could argue that it sounds the same as when I do it that way, is keeping my volume full forward. It probably does, but I like just having that. It's just something about I like the way it kind of attacks the amp a little bit differently. So yeah, I like the idea of putting a buffer pedal before your DI box for the same reason. Michael says, hey, you said zebra pickups, copyright strike. Yep, I'm sure. Yeah, well, trust me, that's you can get copyright strikes for anything now. When you talk about brands, everybody's out there copywriting, trademarking. Actually, you said copyright strike. Technically, it would be a trademark strike. Somebody's probably got a trademark now, the name. So, I'm not old vintage says Subaru. They should get a Range Rover for your collection. Well, you haven't taken into account of inflation. Have you? Cars are expensive. Okay. Amanda says, is there a Guinness Book of World Records for the amount of guitars owned? I would think I mean, sure, some rich guy could own that, you know, have that, but I would imagine it's going to be a rock star. Like it's going to be ZZ Top or it's going to be Aerosmith or somebody with just. And have you ever seen that stuff where they have warehouses? Some of these rock bands have warehouses, full of guitars, just crazy. So, okay. And then somebody was just saying, oh, Napalm is saying during the pandemic I got $700 off Ernie Ball Music Man, which was solid. Well, when I bought my ES35, it was funny. It was at the beginning of the pandemic, and the store that sold it, you can tell was going in panic mode. They were just like wheeling a deal, probably because they were thinking the economy was about to collapse. And I'm sure we were all kind of thinking that. And I just remember like the deal was so crazy. I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. So yeah. And then it wasn't even, I just remember it wasn't even like weeks later. It was like maybe a week or two. All of a sudden everything just started skyrocketing. And that same guitar was just worth like going, you know, everybody was, you couldn't even get them. And if you were getting them, you're paying full retail. So yeah, I just remember that. So, okay. So let's button this up on the show. Anything else we got to talk about? I want to remind you guys one more time. There is a clinic next Friday if you're in Arizona at Zimms Guitars. My buddy Larry Mitchell, he's a Grammy award-winning producer and engineer. He's a guitar player. I've actually played on stage with him before. Fantastic player on every level. It's next Friday at 4 p.m. It's free. I will put a link down below. I just want to let you know he's at the NAMM show right now. When he gets back, he's going to be doing that. So if you happen to be in Phoenix, I'll be here on the show doing anything. But I might try to pop over there after this is over. I don't know. We'll see how it works. But like I said, if you get to go hang out, it's free, and to watch him play. And he's just it's not just sitting there and watch him play. That's you can watch him play on, just find a YouTube video of him. He's just so smart, and he's so well at explaining things, and not just music theory and stuff. Like just, some of my best theories of how I've approached music now come from Larry. And so just definitely go if you can. Like I said, I don't know if you have to sign up or anything. You can reach out to Zimms. I don't think so. I think it's kind of first come, first serve, but like I said, it is free. So there you go. You guys are making me laugh. A lot of stuff. Okay. On that note, thank you guys so much. It was a great Friday show. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I have 2 videos coming. I have a Squire video coming that's pretty exciting. I'm excited about, and a really cool telly video that I don't think that you guys are going to be expecting from me. That's really cool, a little different. So some cool videos. I'm excited about those. Look for those if you could. And as always, I just want to thank you guys for your time. And until next Friday, know your gear.